My name's Nina Woodfield. I'm the chair of the Preston and South Ribble Street Pastors Initiative. We've been running for nearly 3 years now. We have nearly 50 volunteers on the streets. A team of volunteers will go out into the St Matthew's area, Ribbleton Lane, Newhall Lane, and every Friday night, and a team of street pastors goes into the South Ribble area, the Penworth district, every Friday night. When we're on the streets, we'll get a shout because we wear high-vis jackets. On a Friday night, we get, "Who are you?" And what's a street pastor, or street pasty as we get called. And we have to say, we do not preach. We are there as the church on the street. In fact, we're getting off our backsides and going out there and just showing the love of Jesus on the streets. The saying is that although Jesus is at the centre of everything we do, not necessarily at the forefront of what we say, and we're there to show love, to show concern, to help where we can, to be a friendly face on the streets. Started with a group from the Ascension Trust. The guy there, Les Isaacs, was in London and just saw that just by a group of people walking around the streets, people's perception of safety was increased, as it were. Just having a presence on the streets created that feeling of the residents that yes, this is an okay place. I don't feel as alarmed or thinking, oh, there's someone around the corner waiting to get me, as it were. And so really that started off a chain reaction, really, because he asked other members of the church to come on board, and so a small team went out on an evening. And now, from those beginnings, and I'm not sure just how long ago that was, but now there are 9,000 volunteers, nearly 300 initiatives in the UK alone. That's true. When we go out down Newhall Lane, Ribbleton Lane, St Mary's Street, all with specific problems that have been identified by the police, by the local authority, we're almost in the middle, because we are there to show love and concern to everyone. So we would help the homeless, those that have had a bit too much to drink, we would help them home. We would help the street workers, perhaps just even a listening ear, give them hot drinks and chocolate. Any vulnerable person, any young person, we would have a chat to, have a game of football on the park with them. There is that side of the coin, but yet there's the residents who voice their concerns at antisocial behaviour, and we go. The street pastor goes to the PACT meetings, the police and communities together meetings, and also other neighbourhood meetings in the area, to find out what the neighbours, what the residents' problems are. And in a sense, we're in the middle, because we've got the residents who, understandably, are having problems with the local youths, and there we are trying to befriend the local youths as well. And so, in that respect, we would say to the local youths who are perhaps potentially causing a lot of noise and disturbance, have a chat with them. We can't tell them what to do, but we would sort of perhaps suggest things that, keep out of the way of built-up areas where residents live, because they would phone up the police would come round, and then they would, be told to move on. So it is finding a very careful middle ground. We may not please everyone, but it's just being sensitive to everyone's needs. We've had reports, particularly from the South Ribble, because they did a very detailed sort of count. They've had less calls for antisocial behaviour, less calls to the police and in those sorts of areas. And also there has been sort of evidence that people's perceptions of safety have been better when we've been able to talk to residents and say, look, well, yes, we will go down those streets on the Friday, and we will, we'll just be around. The police have asked us to patrol on Saturday nights and on other nights. Now, if only we had more volunteers, we would do more, and that has been a great witness, really, that yes, we've interviewed a volunteer tonight, and we've had to say, well, sometimes, and a lot of Friday nights, it's very wet, very cold, and there is no one on the streets. They're at cosy homes if they're fortunate enough. Now we don't go home early because we are still a presence on the streets, and it is overcoming that. Well, what good are we doing? Yes, we are doing good because we're there. One person we spoke to, and we gave hot chocolate and just drinks, and we were just there. And that person said, I would be dead if it wasn't for the kindness you've shown to us. Now, I was very humbled because I thought, for goodness sake, all we gave them was a drink. That doesn't warrant that sort of intense thankfulness, because that's what anyone could have done. And that made me quite sad in a way, because that's all it took, just to show someone some kindness, some love, a hug. That's that, for that person, and it made all the difference. Now that is a simple way. Now from a safety point of view, we give alarms, personal alarms for any vulnerable female that's on their own, and they've shouted, and we've been around when they've needed just someone to accompany them for whatever reason. Now we don't know what could have happened if we hadn't been around, and it really doesn't matter. What matters is that we were there at the time that they needed us. Right, yes, we are recruiting now. If people are interested and they attend a church in Preston, whatever denomination that is, then to contact if they're on email, to email preston@streetpastors.org.uk. If they want to email me on ninawoodfield@btinternet.com.